I'm going to get this started. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Kat Roche, MLR referee, USA Rugby referee, and I'm the resident referee for the Seattle Seawolves. So I work with them at all of their trainings, as well as put on these presentations for everyone in the Northwest and whoever else was willing to join. I did make this available across the US, but prioritized my Pacific Northwest fam. So thank you all. Hopefully you can see my screen. Today we are talking about advantage and materiality. If at any moment you guys have a question about something, please feel free to drop it in the chat. Unmute yourself. There doesn't seem to be a lot of us on here, so it would be a great opportunity to chat. So don't think you're asking any silly questions. There are also some interactive parts of this, so please be ready to interact. Okay, so we're just going to get into it. Advantage, materiality. Advantage, so I pulled up our lovely law book definition here. Advantage is a clear and real tactical or territorial benefit arising after an infringement by the opposition. So, sorry, I gotta pull something up. Why would we use advantage? Drop in the comments, in the chat. Why do you think you would use advantage? Just in general. Continuity, give opportunity for counterattack. Continuity, yep. Not to stop time, yes, love that. Allow play out for a better result. Perfect. Not punish the attacker, interesting. Any more thoughts on here? I have very similar things. Avoid having to stop the game, promote continuity and flow, gets teams tired. More tired players will usually comply better and actually play better rugby than teams that keep having to stop every 5 seconds, because they don't have as much energy to argue or do stupid things. Keeps the game exciting because you allow the opportunity for exciting things to happen. Allow the non-offending team to create something from their attacking platform that is usually loose ball, loose play, can make for some really exciting rugby. But at the end of the day, you're allowing to do the non-offending team to do something greater than or equal to what they would have from the restart. So if it's a penalty or if it's a scrum, you're giving them the opportunity to get something better than what they would typically get from a scrum. So we're going to start with a little bit of law, as it were. When can you not play advantage? So we're going to play rugby law feud. Yes, I spent way too long putting these in, but all right. When can you not play advantage? We've got 8 instances. Do not open your law book apps. I don't want cheaters in this game. Drop in the comments, when can you not play advantage? And I'm going to be completely honest, guys. I don't know how to unclick these in the order that you come up with them. So I guessed which ones people would be most likely to guess. We're talking in law, when can you not play advantage? Not when should you not play advantage. In law, you cannot play advantage in 8 instances. So I love everyone saying foul play, but you can play advantage off of foul play as per the law. Okay. So far, oh, we've got one finally that was in the law book. I was like, so far we really haven't hit any that are in the law book. As referees, something you control is your law, so please. Think about who the 31st person on the field is. Again, I'm gonna need people to participate. Referee touches the ball and an advantage is gained by one team. If the ball hits the referee and nobody gains an advantage, you can play on. All right. A lot of these instances happen at a certain set piece. A lot of times you can't play advantage off scrum infringements. There are 3 of those scrum specific. No wrong answers. I'm not going to just put them up, so.
Oh, so my brand new AC dad?
Yeah.
Froze solid.
Good.
At the shop. My brand new one. I don't know how I've never had a problem with mine at the house ever in 10 years.
Yeah.
But the AC.
Collapsed scrum. No. Actually. I like the guess. Illegal feed, sort of. So I'll give you that one. The ball comes straight out of the tunnel. You cannot play advantage when the ball comes straight out of the tunnel. I will keep waiting. 2 more at the scrum. Wheeled scrum. Boom, over 90 degrees. If it goes past 90 degrees, you cannot play advantage. You must blow that up. Yes, wheeled scrum. Another one, the opposite of a collapsed scrum. When a player is lifted. Yes, good job. That's actually not the next one on my click list, I think, but I'll just go through these. A penalty kick or free kick is taken incorrectly, or and then or a quick throw is taken incorrectly. Player lifted in scrum. We said that. Fantastic. Dangerous to let play continue. So a lot of people did say dangerous play. If you have a high tackle, you can play advantage off of it. You probably shouldn't, but we'll get to that later. But if it's dangerous to let play continue, you can't play advantage off of that. If you suspect serious injury, number one thing as referees is safety on the field. If you suspect that somebody is seriously injured, please don't let play continue. It's really not safe. And then the last one, oh my gosh, it disappeared. The ball is dead. So if the ball is dead, you can't play on, which seems obvious. But it's good as a referee to know our laws. So all 8 of these in the law book, you cannot play advantage off of that. Okay, it was really entertaining. So we've got 2 types of advantage that we're going to talk about mainly today, scrum and penalty kick. They are very similar, but actually very, very different because one, you can play a bit more freely, and one, you should really think about why and where you are applying advantage. So we're going to talk about scrum advantage first. And when you are playing scrum advantage and you are deciding whether advantage is over or not, you kind of have to ask yourself the question, would the non-offending team rather have a scrum right now? So where on the field do you think that the non-offending team would like to have a scrum? Like, given the options, they're pretty happy with having a scrum. Within 5 meters of the attacking goal line, they'd rather have that than an open play? I don't think so. Jason Browning, within their own 22, why would they usually rather have a scrum? Or not rather, but really comfortable with having a scrum within their own 22. Exactly, because they need a nice platform to exit from. And if they're inside their own 22, all they want to do anyway is exit. So, and again, this doesn't apply to all teams. This doesn't apply to all situations. So I don't want anything I'm being said to be taken as a massive, like, this is how it works. But in general, inside the 22, a team wants to exit. So if they get a scrum in their own 22, they're usually all right with that because they're like, cool, we'll set up a nice platform, we'll exit, we'll have a good day. Now, if you have a team that's getting absolutely demolished at the scrum, that's something you kind of want to consider of inside their own 22, maybe they really don't want to scrum, because if scrums are all going against them, the other team's absolutely annihilating them. A 5-meter defending scrum, where it may be an appropriate choice in one game, could be absolutely inappropriate because you're basically just giving the offending team a turnover penalty. So we've got a couple of clips here about scrum advantage, and I will play them through. I'll try to slow them down a bit. There is no sound, so don't worry about that. I understand it might look kind of choppy, but I'll try to play a couple of times. So here we've got a nice dynamic advantage. So ball's knocked forward by the black team. This really awesome white team gets it. They're playing nice dynamic ball. They've exited out of their 22, top it off. They even got a kick open. They do lose possession, but we've made it all the way to the other 22. So this was off some really nice dynamic play. Anything really could have happened with that knock on, but because we have this open, free-flowing area, you have a great opportunity advantage. Once white has the ball here and goes to that offload, that's probably the moment for me I'm calling advantage over, because they've gotten the possession, which they've gotten here, and they've made a choice with that possession, as well as gained about 15 meters. So I'm confident right here, advantage over. The fact that he gets that other offload and that kick, that's just bonus. But I think just possession is a little too close. If you call advantage over here, sure, he's gained 5 meters, but he could lose that ball right in contact, and that's really hasn't been a fair use of the ball. So, any questions, comments, thoughts about that specific advantage? No. How do I not make this full screen? Oh no. Sorry, I feel like any other old person that doesn't know how to use Zoom. And now John's gonna get mad at me because I said old person. Sorry, John. All right, here we've got a bit of a tactical scrum advantage. Come on. So tactical scrum advantage, got a knock on there. We've got clear possession by the gold team. Clear possession. The gold team is now using the ball the way they want to. They get driven back, but they still have that possession. So I'm saying advantage overs here. They've gone through about 4 phases with the ball. They are still ahead of that gain line. Now, it's really important to figure out when you say advantage over. You never want to say advantage over if the ball is in the air or if you don't clearly see the ball like at the base of the ruck. So right here, it looks like that 9's having trouble with that ball. This is not the moment I want to say advantage over, because that ball could be caught in there. There is kind of a blue hand on it. Now he gets it out. Right there. Secured ruck is a great time to say advantage over. When the 9 has the ball in his hands, a safe time to say advantage over. But if you say advantage over now, and that guy knocks the ball on, you have a tough decision to make, whether you bring it back or say, look like a dick and say, oh, well, I already called it over. So that's a good example of tactical advantage. They've gone through a couple phases. They have made some ground, even though they're passing it back. They're at the same mark where they first had that penalty, or the first had the scrum choice, but they've actually gotten to play the game the way they want to. Let's see, playing advantage off of a line out. Yes, these are also all clips of me. I'm aware of that, but they were the easiest to find. So excellent. So off of a line out, a not straight line out, you can absolutely play advantage here. Line out clearly not straight. Blue team regathers the ball. Clear possession. Right there, advantage over. I understand this is sevens. Advantage is a bit different in sevens, but it's the same theory as instead of having a scrum 5 meters back where the team would still have to win possession, or a line out where they still have to win possession. Right now, they have clear possession. So they're good to set up whatever they want from it. And frankly, they're probably in a better spot because Gold was expecting to be attacking right now. And when they messed up, they then had to adjust. So you probably don't want to be calling over advantage over right now while she's in contact, because you don't know what's going to happen. But as soon as that tackle happens, ball is secure, advantage over, happy days. All right. So this last clip is pretty interesting. When you're playing advantage, you want to consider what's happening, time and place, and what the teams are trying to do. So this was 77th minute. Scores 28 to the team in gold, 22 to the team in white. White team's attacking at the goal line, knocks the ball on. So we're playing advantage to gold on their defending goal line. Scrum advantage. So time and place, and feel free to drop this in the chat. What do you think Gold wants to do with the ball? They're defending 5 meters out from their goal line. They're up by 6 points, 3 minutes left to go. What is Gold? What's their goal? Possession, 100%. They don't want to lose that ball, because what happens if they lose that ball on the 5 meter goal line? And to White. White's going to score, win the game. They want to keep that ball. Now, are you going to just let them play at that 5 meter goal line? Because while possession is definitely their goal, they're not in the best spot, and they still have 2-3 minutes to play. So you're in a bit of a dangerous position playing advantage here. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because yes, Gold want possession and they want to keep playing, but a scrum would also take a solid minute off the clock. And then they'd kick to a line out. White would still have to score probably outside of their 22. And how long are you going to keep advantage for? Because advantage is over by this point. And if white turned the ball over right here, gold's number one question is going to be, well, where's the scrum? So they do end up getting a nice base. They do end up kicking it out. But the message here is it's a bit of a dangerous place to be playing a long scrum advantage. For me, if I was playing advantage here, I would have let that breakdown go, assumed that they were going to kick it out. That breakdown, I would be questioning, and I think it's that tackle right there that's a little behind the gain line, that I would come back for the scrum advantage. And I don't think anyone would really be mad at me from that gold team. Because right now you're hoping for a miracle for them to actually attack outside of their 22. So just kind of an interesting train of thought there is sometimes you get caught out playing an advantage that you don't really want to play. And when in doubt, just call the penalty. Or scrum. I understand. I'm saying penalty as an infringement. So that's just a bit for scrum advantage. Does anybody have any questions about scrum advantage specifically? Scrum advantage is a bit more easy to play and understand because at the end of the day, you're just coming back for a scrum. And scrum, the team has to win possession anyway, so there's still kind of work to be done. Kicking away advantage, a really great point. So I did not actually have any clips of kicking away advantage, but the theory is, I feel like I have a slide on this later. Can you kick away advantage? Yes, but it has to be a controlled kick, not a kick under pressure. So if you knock the ball right on into my arms and I freak out because now you're running at me and I just kick the ball panically, if it's not a good kick, that's not advantage. But if I make a tactical decision as I want to kick this ball and I do that intentionally, scrum advantage usually over. I feel like I totally had a question on that. If a team is getting dominated in the scrum, is it legitimate to give that team a longer scrum advantage period? What about longer? I mean, I feel like every time I hear a longer scrum advantage, I always think myself, I would play a shorter scrum advantage because then I wouldn't have to have a scrum. But I understand the theory of like, you're really just hoping that you get out of it. And I think that goes into the hoping for advantage. And you never want to hope for advantage because if you're hoping advantage accrues, you've picked a wrong place to play advantage. And you're just wasting game time, which we'll get to later. So typically when teams are getting dominated in the scrum, I do a shorter scrum advantage and I either get it over with or I get back to playing. That's my honest answer. All right. So we're going to go to penalty advantage. Would the non-offending team rather have a penalty right now? Where are some areas on the field where the non-offending team would love to have a penalty? Can teams ask for the penalty or scrum and not have advantage? Absolutely. It's their advantage. I have had a team ask for the penalty before, and I didn't give it to them because it was 5 meters out from the goal line. And as we'll talk about soon, you can do anything 5 meters out from the goal line. So don't take the penalty and don't come back for the penalty immediately. It's a stupid waste of an advantage for a team. It's stupid to waste an advantage on the goal line. But absolutely, teams, it's their advantage. They didn't do anything wrong. Why would you take that opportunity away from them? If they pretend they know what they want, they can have it. Fair enough. Summarize saying a team did that, blew the whistle, the captain was mad. And he didn't say that. His teammate did, who had no authority to make the decision. That's a team problem. That's a team leadership issue, to be completely honest. And that's on them to figure it out. So it's not your fault. So to penalty advantage, my lovely people in the chat, where would you as a team love to have a penalty? It's a great place to have a penalty. Defending inside the 22 meter. I mean, yes, but that's almost like I'd rather have a penalty everywhere on the field. Whereas like you get a penalty and you're like, bombs away, money's on the line. I want this. I don't think that inside the 22. If I get a penalty inside the 22, I think, thank goodness, that was stressful. But I get a penalty in these areas of the field, I'm like, let's go, money time. 5 meters out from the try line, great place to get a penalty. Within 10 meters, yes. Inside the 22, perfect. Where else? Maybe not inside the 22. If you're a kicker, you've got nice hair, you've got a big ego. Anywhere attacking half, there you go, because I got a nice ego because I'm a fancy kicker and I can kick it. Probably in front of the goalpost is pretty nice. So my little pink boxes, why would I want to have a penalty in these little pink boxes? Great place to have a penalty. Kick for touch, because what am I going to do when I kick it for touch? I'm going to get a line out. What am I going to do at that line out? I'm going to win it. Honestly, yes, got to do that first. After I win it, what am I doing? 5 meters out, mauling it in. Yes, Patty, always. Mauling it in, try time. I mean, it's not always, but you got a pretty good chance. And then this little blue box right here. These are all for my beautiful kickers out there. You're going to kick for points. So when you're playing advantage from a penalty, these areas, and really just within the attacking half, but I like to look at a little bit more focused. If it's within the blue box, we're talking about 3 points. So if you're playing advantage and you're debating, should I end advantage right now? Is whatever that team, the non-offending team, is what they've accomplished worth 3 points. So you basically have the advantage and what this team's accomplished, or they can have 3 points right now. So am I calling advantage over? Is this really worth 3 points? Have they been playing for enough time? Have they really had a solid attack? You don't want to give the teams an unfairly long amount of time and then be like, okay, you didn't do it. We'll come back from the penalty and really get 2 bites at the cherry. But you do want to be playing advantage and then be like, was that really worth the 3 points they could have had? So same with the pink boxes. As a couple people mentioned, there's a lot more at stake. You actually have to get the ball into touch, win the line out, maul it in and score the try. But you do, if you kick the ball into touch, you do get your line out 30, 40 meters up the field. So is what the team's accomplished worth? Would I rather have my line out 40 meters up the field? So we talked a little bit about kicking away advantage. If you've got a penalty and you're playing penalty advantage in your own 22 and that team boots the ball 40 meters upfield, the alternative is you could have given a penalty and they could have boot the ball 40 meters upfield and it was their line out. So the two things you're weighing is it's the other team's line out 40 meters upfield, or it's their line out 40 meters upfield. And personally, I'd rather have it be my line out. So the penalty is probably the better option. Got some more clips. I know I struggled with these clips last time, so try to do better. Can you give the captain the option? No. In law, you can give the captain the option between two penalties, but you can't play a penalty advantage and then have the ball go into touch and then be like, do you actually want the penalty or do you want what happened? And it would also be very silly because you'd be at the same place. You'd be like, do you want that to be your line out or the other team's line out? And the captain would be like, I would like it to be my line out. You're like, okay, so we're going to go back for the penalty and you're going to kick it again. So we've got a couple penalty advantages here. First one, oh my gosh. Stop thinking, computer. So our first advantage we've got an infringement at the middle of the 50 meter. So obviously this advantage didn't accrue and we came back. But is there anything in this picture that screams the white team is going to do something amazing here? Anybody in the comments? It's okay. The referee won't be offended. It's me. Ah, Patty, my favorite thing, counting on a line break. Counting on a line break is hopeful. Line breaks don't happen. And if your team has a defensive line setup, you are hoping for a line break. You are never counting on a line break. So anything else that this white team is going to do really amazingly, you see it. You see the picture right now. Black's got a great defensive line set up. White's got a lot of players. And you're looking at this saying, woo, white is going to smash it. No, they're not going to do anything exciting with this. They're going to maintain possession. And it's very dull to just watch a team maintain its possession when you're just playing penalty advantage because you know you're going to come back for it. So they do this. Frankly, the referee here gets lucky that they go for this little kick. It's a useless kick. Black gets it, so we come back for advantage. So have we accomplished anything here? No. Was it worth playing advantage from here? No. So, huzzah. Smart or hopeful? It's pretty hopeful advantage. Advantage off cynical play. So we've got two things here. One, we're inside the 50 meter. We've got a deliberate knock on. Deliberate knock on is really hard to play advantage off of. But is there anything here that suggests it's a good opportunity to play advantage? Anything to suggest that the gold team could do something with this? Yeah, exactly. Gold actually has a lot of numbers on the outside. And because this blue player came up and broke his defensive line, there's a decent chance that gold could get a line break here. So I don't love playing advantage off cynical play. I don't love playing advantage inside your own half. But for me, this is a pretty realistic opportunity that gold could do something great. So they get the ball. He goes up, gets tackled. Blue has now put more numbers on the outside. Gold's reload, they come back on the inside. As soon as they are back right where they started, that nice phase later, they didn't get the line break like I thought they would. Let's call that advantage. If you keep playing it out, it's very, very hopeful because when it starts, you've got a realistic chance that something could happen. But as soon as this happens and that team comes around, there's no hope. There's no realistic chance. It's all just, well, something magical could happen. And if you're just hoping something magical happens, you just blow the penalty because you're not going to do anything with that. Does that make sense to everyone? The difference between kind of hoping and realistic we could do something? Cool. All right, next one. I said this earlier. The best place in the world is to play advantage by the goal line because 5 meters out from the goal line, it's never about hope. You've always got a realistic chance of them scoring because teams are almost always going to do the pick and drive. And with a pick and drive, everyone's got a decent chance at scoring. So we've got nice 10-meter maul here. Gold brings it down. Got a nice drive on. They shear off. We've got a couple players rebinding, collapsing. So we're going to play penalty advantage because I love penalty advantage at the goal line. Oh, get really close. 9 could score. 9 doesn't score. Now, how long do you play advantage at the goal line? Honestly, until they score or you're going to go back. And that's the answer that I think every defending player hates to hear. But what you're weighing is a 5-meter penalty. And so it's really hard to gain a 5-meter penalty advantage unless I don't even know. Like I want to say unless you've done like 15 phases, but if you've done 15 phases, you're not really doing anything. And so if you stick that arm out and you're playing advantage at the goal line, you're almost guaranteed you're going to get this penalty or you're going to score a try. And a lot of the time you can back yourself by saying, or there's another penalty, new advantage, offside, whatever, but you're typically going to go 2 things, that penalty or a try. So really easy to play advantage 5 meters out. Now, I like this clip because it kind of shows the dangers of playing advantage. You can be a hero or a zero, which means you could have the best advantage in the world. You score a nice try off of it, or you kind of look pretty silly. So I'm going to play this through. It's 1 minute and 15 seconds. It's an incredibly long advantage, and the longer it plays, the more uncomfortable everyone's going to get with thinking, is advantage over? Do we come back for it? And then everyone's going to be really relieved at the end when the team scores. But hopefully this goes well. So if you saw it, we've got a nice tackle off the ball, gold on this blue player right here. So again, it's foul play. We don't really want to be playing advantage off foul play, but there's a massive gap in defense. This blue team could score. We're right outside the 22. I'm like, heck yeah, we were born for this. Let's go. And then it starts getting awkward. I mean, blue's still got a good run. They're still making, look, all these meters they're making. We've got this great attack. We're really happy we played advantage. But gold's got a pretty good defense. Blue's still maintaining possession. Now this is awkward, right? Do you come back for the advantage? Blue's done a lot of really good work here. They've gotten a lot of attack, but it's still a penalty on the 22. They could easily kick for points. It's 0-0 right now. When do you admit defeat? When do you say advantage gained? Again, we all feel very happy that that guy scored because it was getting very uncomfortable. But these are kind of the questions you have to ask yourself when you're playing advantage is what happens if this advantage doesn't accrue? When do I come back for this? Does it get awkward? Sorry. Amateur. So a lot of things to keep in mind when you're playing advantage. When in doubt, don't play advantage. Seems silly, but you're never going to be faulted. Okay, but this did happen and I am calling it. You can always, sorry, my bad, guys, too quick. But it's better that you call the infringement than having a weird advantage over and now you've got a team coming at you being like, what about the advantage? Like, we would have much rather had this penalty than whatever you let us do. Okay, so I love it when a referee says, I play a lot of advantage to promote flow and continuity. A lot of nice gameplay in my match. So if you start penalty advantage and you play, and then you end up coming back for the penalty, that time you played is almost like non-existent rugby time because nothing happened. You played rugby that didn't count. So think of it, and I do this little math. If you're going to play penalty advantage 12 times and your average length is 30 seconds, a ball in play for an 80-minute match, a ball in play of 34 minutes is really actually quite good. So typically I would imagine a club level you're getting, maybe about 30 to 34. MLR, I know we strive for 37 and above. Every game's different, but if you got 34 minutes, but you're only gaining 2 of your 12 advantages, that's 5 minutes of wasted play. It's 5 minutes of rugby that you played that didn't really count. So you actually only had 29 minutes of play time in that game that mattered. So they play a lot of penalty advantage in international rugby. About 25% of them are accrued last time I saw that statistic. And that's an international where they're frankly better at accruing advantage than in your typical club game or even in MLR. So when in doubt, don't waste your game time. Don't play useless penalty advantage because you're not actually adding to the flow and continuity. You're adding a lot of crap that the players then have to go through. Because they had to play 5 minutes of rugby that didn't really matter. They had to make 20 tackles not 20. I mean, their team had to make 20 tackles that didn't actually count. And then they get up and they're like, that hurt. And it didn't even matter at the end of the day. So when in doubt, don't play advantage. All right. 2 categories here. Great place to play advantage and never play advantage. Which do you think is which? These are 2 columns. It's not actually that challenging. Where do you think is a great place to play advantage? Attacking inside the 22, clear real overlap line break. I would say great place to play advantage. What about foul play, defending inside your 22? Defending inside your, you're probably not. It's just not a good place to play advantage. Foul play, you're gonna miss the point, and you're gonna leave players to their own issues. They're gonna start fighting outside of you. Defending inside the 22, the team is always gonna want to kick for touch. So you're basically trying to bank on a try being scored from inside the 22, which I wouldn't put my money on. Versus attacking inside the 22 meter, you've got a pretty good chance team's going to score a try. So sure, play some advantage. If not, come back. Or you've got, like we talked about in that nice, super big overload, real opportunity for a line break. If you don't get it, we'll just come back for it. So, but I've got a poll, guys. I've got a poll. I actually had more polls, but I forget when I was supposed to launch them. So I'm going to launch this poll. It's really easy. Yes. Look at all these participants. I understand not everybody might be able to answer this, so I will cut it right there. But thanks, Patty. I was going to say, hopefully some people hit the wrong button. When in doubt, please don't play advantage. It muddles up a message. It makes the teams frustrated if you're playing useless advantage where they'd really just rather have the penalty. And it can help prevent flare-ups if you just deal with an issue when it happens. Again, I love advantage. Advantage makes a game flow really well, but when in doubt, just don't play advantage. If you're inside the attacking 22 meter, you can play advantage. That's basically it. Cool. That's what we've got on advantage. We do have a couple of slides on materiality, though it is a lot less content. So if you've got questions about advantage, I would love if you pop them in the chat or unmute and ask them. Because I feel like I'm just talking to my computer screen. So, open questions for advantage. No questions. Everyone's going to play great. Oh. Time to touch on advantage in sevens. I can. Advantage in sevens is really short. For scrum advantage in sevens, it's basically possession. And penalty advantage in sevens, it is possession and intentional use of the ball, typically. So if I've got the ball and I've got two good passes, advantage over. Yeah, so again, difference between sevens and 15s. Do I play advantage on foul play in sevens? Typically, no. Deliberate knock-ons, never. That's more cynical play, but you're going to yellow card that. You still can. The thing with sevens is there's just so few people on the field, and the quick tap is really the best opportunity that you're just almost always going to call the penalty. I actually played penalty advantage once this past weekend in 6 games on the series, and it was 1 meter out from the goal line for not rolling because I was 1 meter out from the goal line. I'm like, I bet they're going to score here. But that was the only penalty advantage I played. So, and then, yeah, scrum advantage in sevens is just possession, basically. If you get the ball and you get the ball and you're happy you got the ball, it's more or less advantage over. Any other questions? I was debating doing a full sevens presentation, so that might be coming. Cool. We're going to hop over really quick to materiality. Go ahead, drop in the chat what materiality means to you. When I say materiality, what do you think of? You can do one word, you can do definition. Severity, love that. Has an effect on play. Yes. How does it affect the outcome? Absolutely. Yes. Fantastic. Cool. I pulled up the Webster definition. Important, essential, relevant. Deciding what is and isn't material is what makes a rugby referee different from all other sports officials. There are some sports where materiality is part of a referee's decision making, but realistically, as rugby match officials, materiality is what makes you good at what you do, because so many things happen in a game that just really don't matter. So I have sorted us into two different columns again, materiality and types of infringements. So we've got one of these columns is always material and the other one is commonly immaterial. So what do you think, these two columns, what do you think is always material? What always matters? Yes. Easy. I hope this should be an easy one. Foul play and cynical play always matters because it's dangerous. So remember, this is a different conversation from advantage. We're not talking about that. We're talking about materiality. Foul play, cynical play, always material, always must be called. We've got to keep the players safe. You're going to have infringements, offside infringements, ruck infringements, scrum infringements, line-out infringements that don't really matter or affect the outcome. Those are the things that we can play through. But going out of this, you've got to call foul play. You've got to call cynical play because it does always matter. So I made this little materiality check. These are the questions that you want to ask yourself. Does it affect the ball availability? Does it affect the non-offending team's options? Does it affect the way the non-offending team played? Or does it provide me a valuable way to add to the game? Now, I don't have like, if you say yes to one of these, then it's material. That's not the thing. These are just questions that you want to ask yourself. If it affects the ball availability, it's probably material. But if nobody's there to play the ball, then it's probably not material because the ball wasn't available, but nobody was there to play it anyway. So if you have a late 9 arriving, okay. Oh, he's not rolling. Okay. Well, the 9's like over there, really slow. So now that as soon as the 9's here, the ball's available. Sweet. Does it affect the non-offending team's options? If you've got a player who's offside on the wing, which I do have a clip, but the team doesn't want to go to the wing, didn't really affect. Well, it did affect their options, but if they didn't even have a player ready out in the wing, that was never a realistic option for them. Same way as did it affect how they played? No, they were always fixing to go to the pod. And does it provide me a valuable way to add to the game? So we think about this when we're setting standards, maybe, first 5, 10, 15 minutes into the match. Is this a picture that I want to penalize? Do I want to draw my line in the sand right here? So, a couple of clips. We do a little materiality check. So we're going to look at offside. We've got a nice ruck. All of our white players are onside. 9 has not picked the ball up yet. All of these forwards are still onside, but our 14 has jumped the line. White 14 is offside. These 3 players on black are always taking it into contact right here. They pass right to him. They're going into contact. These onside players by this point have put 14 white onside. Again, it doesn't matter because he was not a part of this play. So is he offside? Yes. Is it material? No. This is important if you're an assistant referee as well. If you call in white 14 offside, you're not really adding to the game at all because you're telling the referee to call white 14 offside and there's absolutely no need to. So it's really important taking that extra breath. Yes, I've seen that player's offside. No, it doesn't matter. You could always have a word with them. Hey, 14, take an extra step at the next breakdown, but that's just not something that's worth calling. And then materiality at the ruck. So you see like 1.5 million things happen at a ruck, happen at a breakdown. This was just one I pulled. Ooh, there's sound on that one. Oops. White's got the ball. He even almost does a little extra crawl. Okay. This other white player goes absolutely 100% off his feet. Does it affect the black team's options? Yeah, they can't really go for the ball because White's gone straight off his feet. Does it affect the way the black team played? No, not really. 5 was never in a position to go for the ball. He's kind of bouncing back, but he's always 100% upright. He would have had to get really low, be in a good jackal position. But if you've got a black player in a great jackal position, and this white player then does this, goes straight off his feet, 100% it's material because black couldn't do what they wanted to, which is jackal the ball. But here, black's never jackling that ball. They just want to get into defensive position. So is white going off his feet material? No. If this is something you're trying to set standards for, I understand you could call it. But that's then your line in the sand. And every single time that happens for the rest of the match, you need to call it. So if that's the hill you want to die on, go ahead. But you are all entitled to. I did have a chat. Balance between immediate materiality and setting your standard. To what degree is letting? Yeah, so it's kind of the opposite. Set your standard, encourage that type of play, or draw your line in the sand. If there's a black player in a jackal position, I'm absolutely calling that because he's preventing that contest. But because there's no one there, if I call that infringement, I'm going to be spending all day on my whistle, and I am going to absolutely massacre a game of rugby and make it the most unwatchable and unplayable thing in the world. And frankly, as referees, I understand the law book's there for a reason, but if we followed every law and blew our whistle when every law was infringed upon, we would be the worst referee in the history of rugby. So taking a moment, reading the whole picture of, did anyone really care that this happened, or was it foul play or cynical play? Because if it's not foul play or cynical play, I don't really have to call it unless it affected the game in a way that was unfair. This didn't affect a game in the way that was unfair because black didn't care. So it's not material. But it is a really good question because that's what we get the comment from, is the average fans looks at that, that's off his feet. A player might even say it, oh, this player's off his feet. Why didn't you call it? Why? Because it didn't affect anything that your team was doing. If you guys are in a position and he takes away that option, 100% I'll call it. So that was just my little bit about materiality. It is 8:03. So that's actually all I have for this session. I will take questions. I won't answer between laws and rules. I don't really care. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer them. We do have 3 sessions left. Scrum and lineout are both going to be in person. I'm going to work pretty hard to see if I can get some of these Sea Wolves out there. Because as you probably have guessed, I did not play in the front row of the scrum. So I'm going to see if I can get an expert out there. And then our foul play, our last session, will be online June 7th. And then I will be seeing if I can do a sevens focus session because you know me, I love some sevens. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully you found something useful out of this. And then hopefully everyone in the Seattle area will be able to see you next week, next Monday, 7 p.m. We'll get a location out as soon as possible. We might just be back at Ron Regis Park because I loved that location last time. But I'll let you guys know. Thanks for attending. Really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the engagement in the chat. You made it a lot easier to present when I'm just talking to a computer. So thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your night.
Hey, Kat, I got booted there in the last couple minutes, and it sounds like maybe, do you have a couple minutes?
Yes. Let me just stop my recording, please.
Okay.